Hello, hello! Welcome back to VBS Event Summaries. It's On's turn to finally have her first mixed focus, and that's Wishing to the Blue Sky for Your Happiness, a VBS Murmur Jump mixed event. Well, I say VBS, but really it's just On and Kohane. The boys already had their wedding event, never mind the fact that On crashed that one too, so it's time for the girls to have theirs. It's also looking like another Yuri-ful event, since the Murmur Jump characters this time around are Shizu Airi. I'm not really knowledgeable about Murmur Jump ships, but I think Shizu Airi is pretty popular. I guess we'll find out. Wishing to the Blue Sky for Your Happiness ran on the JP server from May 31st through June 8th, 2022. Without any further ado, let's get right into it. The event opens with On looking for one of Vivid Street's local stray cats, Vivi. On hasn't seen her in a while, and she thinks the kitty might have gotten swept up in all of the commotion from the past couple of days. There's been a lot of trucks in and out of Vivid Street lately, and Vivi might have gotten caught in some of the bustle. Kohane is also there, a bit early for her training with Taiga. On offers to help her pass the time at the cafe, and once they enter, they're immediately met with a customer crying on one of the tables. Her name is Miss Kawasaki, and she's a freelance photographer that's known the Shiraishi family for some time. She's supposed to be entering into a photography contest, but all of her models dropped at the last second and she doesn't have any replacements, so basically she's out of a job. If only there was someone out there with an energetic spark, a pretty face, and filled to the brim with life. Oh, alright, I won't drag this out. Of course Miss Kawasaki and Kohane immediately think of On. And of course, though On tries to get out of it, Miss Kawasaki ends up convincing her to agree. Oh, and she ropes in Kohane to be one of the bridesmaids. On expresses her hesitation and worry about playing the role of a bride to everyone in the Sekai, including a surprise appearance from the boys. In On's mind, brides are supposed to be mature, composed, and exude this elegant sort of energy, and that's not something On has in spades. Kohane disagrees though, but she also keeps saying that she's really excited to see On in a wedding dress, so there may be some ulterior motives here. Meiko does end up giving On a little pep talk, saying that she doesn't have to try to be a perfect bride per se, just focus on finding that happiness that brings everyone together. On should be able to do that pretty easily, I think. Over on the Murmur Jump side of things, Airi and Shizuku run into a cat outside of the mall. The thing about Airi is that she really loves cats, but is super allergic to them, so she can't actually get close without dissolving into sneezes. The cat runs off as Shizuku gets a message from her modeling agent, and I bet you can guess where I'm going with this, but said modeling agent needs a last-minute model as a favor for a photographer friend of theirs, a wedding shoot to act as the bride. Seems a bit strange that Shizuku would be the bride too. Okay, I see what happened. So, to put it simply, Miss Kawasaki thought she'd be getting a groom from her modeling agent friend, but there was a slip-up and they got another bride instead. Of course, that other bride is Shizuku, who had just arrived with Airi at the venue. On top of this mix-up, it's starting to get cloudy outside as well. Talk about a sticky situation. We can have Yuri, though. Not the Yuri I was expecting, but Yuri nonetheless. Yeah, if Shizuku just wears the tuxedo, then everything should be fine. There's a brief moment where On is relieved she gets to wear the tux, but then Miss Kawasaki says that On should still wear the dress, and she gets embarrassed all over again. I feel you, On, I feel you. Yuri flashbang alert! Yeah, the next scene is just Airi and Kohane fantasizing about how On and Shizuku will look in their fancy outfits. Y'all are not slick. Goodness gracious, Kohane. Guys, I think Kohane may or may not like On Shiraishi just a little bit. Why are the Anhane events so blatantly Yuri-ful, but the Akitoya events are just glorified queerbaiting? This really is Vivid Gay Squad, SMH. And now Shizuku is stepping in to save On from tripping and falling like some fairy tale Otome game. What is going on? The photoshoot finally begins, but Kohane is more than a little nervous about being in front of the camera. Kohane is a hobbyist photographer, so it would make sense that she doesn't really know what to do as a model. Airi comes up with the fantastic idea to make Kohane jealous enough to throw her caution to the wind and be more natural, and it works. Kohane all but throws herself at On when she sees Airi being super touchy with her partner. Thankfully, after that little trick, Kohane is able to relax and the shoot continues on to the next location. Something is still a little bit off as An and Shizuku start to run through their duo poses. Miss Kawasaki asks the two of them to talk, just to get some material, and An immediately starts talking about Rad Weekend. Her face absolutely lights up, and Shizuku beams at the smile An has on her face, until An remembers that she's supposed to be a bride right now and schools her expression. Shizuku tries again to get that genuine smile back on her face, but An is locked in on what she thinks a bride is supposed to act like. She overhears Miss Kawasaki talking with the costume designer during the break about trying to capture An's spark, since she's clearly still nervous or something. An thought she was doing a good job, but apparently not good enough. An excuses herself to the waiting room and Kohane chases after her, but when Kohane catches up, An shrugs her off and says that she needs to practice alone for a bit. Meiko shows up on Kohane's phone after An leaves and tells Kohane that there's something she can do to help her partner, and Kohane has to be the one to do it. Back inside the waiting room, An is practicing her poses and expressions in the mirror. Shizuku realizes the main issue, aka why An is acting so strange, and goes to the waiting room to give An a pep talk. It all boils down to An needing to be herself instead of trying to act like a bride, since Miss Kawasaki chose An for her infectious energy and hopeful spark. An shoots the pep talk right back at Shizuku, who gets a little lost in her memories, before deciding that they should each wish for each other to be who they want to be. Those feelings will make for some beautiful photos, I'm sure. Just as the break is about to be over, Kohane rushes over to check in with An. Though she's feeling much better after her talk with Shizuku, she's still a little nervous, so Kohane asks An to sing with her. Nothing crazy, just a little warm-up song to help An get back into the flow of things, into the rhythm of her own personality. It works, and the ensuing photos turn out perfect. I don't really know why we have this B-plot with Vivi the cat, but Vivi the cat is stuck in a nearby tree visible from the photoshoot location, and she's being pestered by a bunch of crows. Poor thing can't get down, and after Shizuku tries to climb the tree, followed by An, the latter ends up having to catch Vivi as she falls. They both end up on the ground, but Vivi is okay, and the day is saved. Everyone say thank you, An Shiraishi. Oh, that does mean that the dress got all dirty in the commotion of it all, but Miss Kawasaki doesn't mind and snaps a few candid photos anyways. I assume the shoot ended there for the day, as the next scene takes us into the Sekai for the post-photoshoot VBS cafe trip. Nothing of note really happens here, but there is one thing I'd like to mention. An was acting a little bit different in front of Shizuku because she subconsciously wanted to be someone like her, reliable and always lighting up the room whenever she walks in. Just like her aunt Nagi. VBS practices into the evening, accompanied by Vivi the cat, right back on the grind. And that is that. I don't have a whole lot to say in regards to my thoughts on this event, much like the other mixed focuses. It's cute, fun, and overall just a nice breather from the main storyline. And of course all the Yuri. These Anhane events, I swear. I'm looking at the event list here, and it looks like we'll be getting another Anhane event just like this in a few weeks, so look forward to that if you liked this one. Clearly Anhane is Sega's favorite. I have to talk a little bit more to pad out the time for the cards to scroll by, so, why don't you tell me what your favorite mixed event out of the first rotation is? For VBS, I mean. Mine is definitely the sounds of a summer festival, and no, I am not biased at all. And it just so happens to be in that event, and it also just so happens to be one of my favorites. No correlation there whatsoever. Next up on the event list is the start of the third rotation of focus events, and as always, we begin with An. The vivid old tale is about to be told. I'll see you then.